lot of different ADCs that use various techniques to do their job, but the simplest one, as far as circuit complexity, might be the ramp compare type. This method works by comparing the input voltage to a sawtooth wave that ramps up or down. At the beginning of the ramp, a timer starts. When the ramp voltage matches the input, a comparator gives a signal to record the time passed. A very simple way of creating a ramp function is with an inverting integrator circuit. Without going into the math or any details, this just means that a linear voltage increase occurs at the output when a difference in voltage is applied to the inputs. So, to create a positive going ramp without using a split power supply, the non-inverting input of the amplifier needs to be higher than ground. A voltage divider will do the trick. Once the ramp gets to the maximum we want it to get to, we'll have to reset it. The simplest way to do this is by discharging the capacitor using a MOSFET. This MOSFET will be activated by a brief pulse of a 555 timer set to monostable mode, which is triggered by a second comparator. To compare the input to the ramp voltage, we will need a third and last comparator. Because I want a negative pulse to occur when the two voltages are the same, the ramp function is fed directly into the inverting input, while the non-inverting input gets the voltage we want to measure. Two potentiometers are needed to adjust and tune the circuit, but I'll explain how those work later on. A second 555 timer, this time in bistable mode, is necessary to provide the clock signal for counting. This will just run freely without ever being reset. The maximum error cause will be of 1 clock pulse, in my case corresponding to 1/10 of a volt. To adjust the clock speed, a potentiometer can be used. Alternatively, you can just try switching different capacitors around to get as close as you can to your desired frequency. To keep track of time and thus the clock pulses, some sort of counter is needed. For displaying the measured value, I chose to use 4 7-segment displays. I happen to have an ICM 7217 laying around, which is a 7-segment display driver capable of multiplexing 4 displays at once. It includes a counter, output latches, and a reset pin that resets the counter without affecting the output latches. I recommend you check the datasheet. It explains everything in great detail. I'll include a link to it in the description. The way the value gets stored is by the input comparator going low. A capacitor and the integrated pull-up resistor create a high-pass RC filter. This generates a brief low-going pulse. This triggers the active low store function. At this point, the value in the counter gets stored in the latches and outputted to the display. A reverse diode avoids a high voltage pulse when the comparator goes back to the high state. Once a ramp reaches its maximum voltage, the monostable timer activates a second MOSFET that acts as an inverter. This pulls to ground the active low reset pin. It's also probably worth mentioning that I used an LM7805 to create a steady 5-volt source for the ICM 7217. Now by giving it power and applying a voltage to the input, we can see the display turns on. First thing we have to do is adjust the 0 point. This is where we will use the 2 potentiometers I was talking about before. Let's start by setting the input to 0 volts and turning the second potentiometer until the display goes also to 0. After that, the input has to be raised to 20 or 30 volts. Now the first potentiometer is used to match the displayed value to the actual one. If the maximum value displayed still doesn't reach the sampled one, you'll have to increase the frequency by changing the capacitor on the 555 or using your potentiometer. Now that we tuned our ADC, you can see it should work pretty well. Keep in mind that the accuracy is kind of what it is, and it's never going to be anywhere close to a multimeter. This is because of the relative simplicity of the circuit. You can also see that there's a fair amount of fluctuation in the reading. Another note is that the 555 timer isn't the most accurate timer there is. In fact, it's probably better to use a crystal if you want it to be more precise. This would probably be overkill though, because the rest of the circuit isn't so accurate anyway. To conclude, I think this is a very useful project if you're trying to learn more about these things and would like to get some hands-on experience. Naturally, as stated before, if you're looking for any good precision though, you should really stick to a regular multimeter. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If so, I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.